closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title, because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that. That's right. We're back. We're live, and we are brand new. It's Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back in on a Tuesday morning. A cold start to your day, but we thank you for joining us. Going to do a little University Kia Alabama preview, or Alabama Rose Bowl preview show. Easy for us to come up with, hard for me to say. A big thank you to University Kia here in Huntsville for helping us put this show on today. We're going to set the table and get you ready for Alabama's quarterfinal matchup with Indiana in the Rose Bowl. We'll set the stage for the other college football playoff quarterfinals. Throw in some other college football news, and we've got a little other smatterings of stuff to touch on. But don't forget, University Kia in Huntsville. You can stop in for a 25 or a 26. How about a Kia Carnival, an EV9, a Niro, Seltos, a Carnival Hybrid, a K4, Sorrento. You can do a Soul, a Sportage plug-in hybrid. They got all kinds of vehicles there. University Kia. They got holiday hours too. You can buy a car on New Year's Eve from our good friend Arthur Seaton over there in the Rose Bowl. If we are talking the Rose Bowl, there is only one way to get this Rose Bowl preview show going, and that is with this.
How do you define this? Fill it with 100,000 people with a Rose Bowl victory tucked away in your life. It's special. I don't know that I have ever really figured out how to express all, tie it all together, how to make it so vivid that it stands by itself. But I would say this, that it does a pretty good job.
The legendary Keith Jackson setting the stage for this Rose Bowl playoff quarterfinal. And Keith Jackson's voice synonymous with many Rose Bowls.
Absolutely. He and his longtime partner, Bob Greasy. If you grew up listening to college football when it was actually broadcast the proper way, I mean, it was unforgettable and outstanding. And Keith was the best. I mean, his voice and just an amazing broadcaster. And you knew it was a big game when Keith Jackson was there, and he was synonymous with doing the Rose Bowl. And it's going to be a great atmosphere coming up on Thursday. You know, we'll have full coverage here on 97.7 The Zone. And we're going to preview the game today. Looking forward to that. It's going to be a big-time matchup between the Indiana Hoosiers and the number one team in the country. And no, this is not, like I said on a podcast yesterday, the 1976 undefeated Indiana basketball team taking on Alabama basketball. This is actually a football game. And, you know, I was 1 year old, but people forget that 1976 team's the last undefeated NCAA national champion in hoops, and Alabama almost beat them. They came very, very close. If it wasn't for Mo, Larry, and Curley, from what I was told, the officiating, then Alabama could have easily won the game. But Indiana was a hell of a basketball team. I was blessed to be coached and mentored by a guy that played on that team, Rich Valavicius, who still lives around here, and he was the only freshman that played on that basketball team. And now Indiana, this is their best football team ever. Can they complete the mission? Can they go from, a program that really has mostly a losing history, except for pockets of success under Bill Mallory, Tom Allen, and now Kirk Cignetti? Or are they? And then, of course, as Tom Brew has told us in the 40s, the last time they had won a Big Ten titles until this year, and then they tied for it in '67. Or is this? Are they going to be the ultimate Cinderella story? Are they going to finish the drill, win it all? I guess if you wanted to compare it to another school that isn't a traditional power that won it all, and they did it under some strange circumstances because of the polls back in the day and the way the bowl system was set up. But are they going to, I believe it was, BYU. Are they going to be BYU, and I believe that was in '84. Are they going to be the BYU Cougars, and are they going to win a national championship? And BYU was considered the national champions that year.
Right.
So, stand alone. Are they going to do that? Is that what Indiana is going to do? They certainly have an opportunity. It's tougher because BYU had to win a bowl game over, I think, a 7-5 Michigan team in the Holiday Bowl to win it. This time, Indiana's got to earn it. They've got to win 3 straight after getting this bye. And because
last year though, am I mistaken? There were no teams that came off a bye that won in the playoffs last year.
That's
right.
That was going to be my next point. Is the mold going to be broken this year? Because last year, everybody that was given a bye fell on their face.
Right.
And
no road playoff team won last year either. Alabama stopped that streak. They were the first to stop it.
And Miami Hurricanes,
and then Miami did it. Yeah.
So, and so there we go. So that mold has been broken of road teams winning. And now are these teams that got byes, are they going to win? And so we'll see. It's going to be very interesting because 2 SEC teams remain, and then the 3
SEC teams remain. Indiana, you got Ohio State or Ole Miss, Georgia, and Alabama.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting. Of course, my bad. I keep forgetting the Fighting the Pete Goldings are still in it, but and then unfortunately, just like Alabama, Oklahoma. They're having to play each other. So again, I apologize. No disrespect. I guess my thinking is one's going to eliminate the other. So there could be one. There will be at least one in the semis. Is there going to be 2? Can Alabama shock Indiana? Because at this point, it would be an upset. And if you listen to some of the national media, Alabama should have never been in. They should have never shown up against the big bad Oklahoma. And now they have no chance against Indiana. Some are predicting a 3 or 4 touchdown blowout, which to me is just, you're smoking that crap. But, and I respect the hell out of Indiana.
Is a 7-point favorite going into the ball game.
Alabama to get blown out. Okay, now could they be beaten by the Hoosiers? Absolutely, but I don't expect this to be some sort of beat down like Georgia put on Alabama, because I think Alabama's healthier and I think it's a good matchup. I think Indiana's very, very good, but I think Alabama can beat them. As a matter of fact, I'm picking Alabama 21-17. I'm picking Alabama to upset Indiana. I'm not trying to be disrespectful of the Hoosiers. I just think Alabama matches up well with them.
Right.
And I think every time Indiana has played a really good team, it's gone down to the 4th quarter to try to win. And to the Hoosiers' credit, every time they've been pressed, they've made the plays. And, can they do it against Alabama?
There is a common opponent between Alabama and Wisconsin, or Alabama and Indiana. Wisconsin. They both played Wisconsin during the regular season.
Right.
Identical scores, 31-7.
Yeah. Wisconsin sucks. Got some friends that are Badgers, but they stink. They absolutely
They do.
Right now.
But Indiana's schedule, you look at it, we all know Alabama's schedule during the year. Indiana struggled and had a hard time winning at Iowa, which is a tough win. They did go out to Eugene. That's where they impressed you the most with the 30-20 win over the Ducks. And then they beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, 13-10. Slowed down the Buckeyes there. So those were the three big games, I guess you could say, that Indiana had to cross off their list this year. They had the Purdue's, the Wisconsins, the Penn States, but the Penn State was well after James Franklin had been fired, and they were a mess.
And Penn State should have won the game, but they didn't.
Right.
And woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Had Michigan State, Maryland, and then Illinois, Indiana State, and Kennesaw State, and Old Dominion. Those were the ball games for Indiana this year. Let's go out to the phone lines. 256-576-4977. AC is with us out of the gates. Good morning, AC.
Good morning, guys. Thank you so much for taking my call. Happy New Year, sir. I appreciate you for taking my call. Mr. Drew, how you feeling, sir?
I'm feeling good, man. How are you doing? I hope you had a Merry Christmas.
Blessed to be alive. I'm sorry, one more time. I lost you. I apologize. One more time, sir.
I just said I hope you had a Merry Christmas. I don't know if you celebrate that and everything, but
no, sir, I do not. But I hope you had a nice holiday. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
The college football playoff. Which game, besides Bama and Indiana, I know what you're going to say. So which game are you guys looking forward to the most besides Bama and Indiana?
Well, I mean, I think all of them are intriguing. I think I'd like to see how Miami's defense matches up with Ohio State. I mean, I think it's
okay.
I think there's some intrigue there. I don't know enough about Texas Tech and when they were playing against Oregon. I'm actually calling for the upset there, though, even though I hadn't seen a ton of Texas Tech, because I don't believe in the Ducks. I don't believe in
Oregon's a 2.5-point favorite now in that one. That is the Orange Bowl, 11 a.m. Thursday morning.
I'm just not sure that I believe in the Oregon QB. The last time I saw him against Indiana, he looked awful, and they were touting him as a Heisman Trophy front runner, and he fell on his face. So I'm going to be interested to see. Now I will say this: Carson Beck looked awful in their win, so I don't. That could be a wash, but I think the Miami defense has the athletes to get after Ohio State, and I think. With the Texas Tech and all the money they spent. I did watch some of the Texas Tech BYU game.
Right.
Texas Tech does have some athletes. There's no question about it. And so I think that, like Scott said, it's 2.5 points. I guess Oregon is favored by. I think it's going to be close, but I called for Texas Tech. Now, I'm not picking Miami to beat Ohio State. I'm picking Ohio State. I mean, I think they got the most talent in that situation. And like I said, Mario's win was ugly, but I've got them. And then, when you think about it, I've got Georgia beating Ole Miss again. I just think Georgia is probably my favorite right now. I don't know that there's a great team out there, but Georgia seems to be rounding into form. Certainly Ole Miss has had one hell of a run, and Pete Golding got a nice win, but let's be honest, Oregon and Ole Miss both had layups in their first round matchups. They didn't have to do a whole lot. So I'm going to be interested to see how Ole Miss does. Now, Ole Miss honestly probably should have won the first game, over there in Athens, but they didn't do it. And so, but I just don't believe in the Ole Miss defense. I don't think it's the elite like it was a year ago when they beat Georgia. And I think Georgia is the more well-rounded team, and I would take the Dogs.
Okay, out of all the games, which one's going to be the high scoring and low scoring, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, I think the highest scoring game will probably be Texas Tech and Oregon.
You think that one?
I agree.
But Tosh Lupoy's got one foot out the door. He's headed to Cal.
Right.
And then to his alma mater. And then and Texas Tech, I mean, they've
not Ole Miss, Georgia.
But no, I think Ole Miss and Georgia – I think that'll be probably a game played in the high 20s, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 34-31 type game, 38-35 with Texas Tech and Oregon. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. Alabama, Indiana, I don't think it'll be high-scoring. I think it'll be, like I said, I picked 21-17. I think it's going to be if Alabama can get in the 20s, I think they got a chance because I respect the heck of what I saw out of Indiana's defense. And then Miami and Ohio State. I'm gonna if I'm gonna call for one beat down in a playoff game, I'm calling for Ohio State. I think they're gonna beat the hell out of Miami.
You think so?
Okay.
Well, right
Okay,
now,
so-
Ohio State is a 9.5-point favorite over Miami in that ball game. So
Ohio
you
State
would
31,
Okay.
Miami 10. Goodbye.
I mean, Texas and what bowl game they're playing? Texas and Michigan.
The
What
Cheez-It
game
Bowl,
they're
I
playing?
think that's what it is. Cheez-Its.
I'm sorry. What? Did you say Citrus Bowl? That's what I heard, or am I mistaken?
Cheez-Its.
Oh,
Cheez-It Bowl. I
Okay,
think that's the
okay,
sponsor.
okay.
I can't keep up with all the sponsors, but I think
I know
it's
too
one of
many.
the Florida
Well,
bowls over there, I think.
Well, to be honest with you, that bowl game needs to change. It should be named Sharon Moore Scandal Bowl.
Oh man.
It's the Camping World Stadium. It's the Cheez-It
Orlando,
Citrus Bowl. It's
so,
the Citrus Bowl.
It is Cheez-Its, but it's in Orlando. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the Cheez-It.
I've been to that venue. It's not bad, but yeah, it's that's who's playing. And
well, they've redone it. It's beautiful now.
Former guest on the show, Biff Poggi, is the interim coach of the Crook Marines, and they're going to play and probably get their tails whipped.
So I've been there twice. I've been there for an Auburn game, and we've covered Auburn, and then we've covered Alabama down there. And I always loved the Citrus Bowl because they would serve us fresh squeezed orange juice on the sidelines.
You know, I wasn't on the sidelines when I covered it in 2019 when they beat the Crook Marines. That was, I guess, before they hired Stallions and had to steal signs so they could win a big game.
All right, 256-576-4977. Let's get a break in.
We were in a giving mood there. We let the moron of the year that we didn't vote for. I was telling people that at the Huntsville City Classic. We did not vote for AC to be moron of the year. He was cussing you out on social media, but we did not.
Yeah,
vote for him.
What did he say? If I go back there, let's see if I can.
For him, and neither did Scott. So
No, but he did.
No.
He did come up with this. He says, and this was AC, and I quote,
right.
I hope your fans have the worst holiday.
Right.
I hope they have an explosive diarrhea.
Mm-hmm.
They are a scumbag who doesn't deserve to celebrate holidays for hating me. I discredit scumbags.
Well, I guess that's why he didn't give us hell this morning, because we didn't. I guess he realizes we didn't vote for him. We didn't have anything to do with it. We thought Sharon Moore was going to win.
Well, he was leading.
He was leading. And
then, but then all of a sudden.
And then our listeners said something. By the way, you're banned again, Bangladesh. Give me my Twitter account back. Your cousins suck.
We got to get a break in. So what are we on now? A month and a half for you not having that thing?
But you know what else I found out? Guess who else had their account stolen?
Who?
A guest on this show and one of the best journalists in the business, Chris Lowe.
Did he really?
These Iranians or whoever the hell they are, they
got his account.
That's what I was told this weekend, that his account got stolen.
Woo!
In other words, come on, people. Where's your customer service, Elon? We need our accounts back. This is ridiculous. Get rid of these clowns. Have ICE get rid of them.
We got to get a break in. 256-576-4977. Ryan Grubb talked the running game before they arrived in L.A. By the way, the Crimson Tide arrived last night in Los Angeles. Before they left, Grubb talked running game. What did he say?
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Well-informed truck and SUV buyers wait all year for this moment because they know the year-end deals are worth the wait. Hi, folks. Don Wessels for Woody Anderson Ford, and these are the final days of our year-end sales event. We've got nearly 700 new Fords ready for you, and all 25 models come with an additional $1,000 final days bonus cash. Drive home with no payments for 90 days, plus get financing as low as 0% for 60 months on the 25 F-150, Explorer, Escape, Transit Van, and the Lightning. Or choose one of our zero-down 36-month leases starting at just $349 on our most popular models. Plus 2 years of complimentary maintenance. First payment due at signing, no security deposit, plus tax, tag, title, and fees with approved credit. Offer ends 12/31. This is as good as it gets. No payments for 90 days, 0% for 60 months, and no money down, $349 leases. The end of the year is here, and we've got the deals that make that wait worthwhile. Only at Woody Anderson Ford. I'm Don Wessels, and we can't wait to see you.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopé. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road. Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. I know your accident is the real thing, and they happen to real people.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. There's a lot of talk right now about bigger, but when you've had a wreck, is bigger better?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. Do you want to be just a case number?
With offices in Huntsville and Scottsboro, we take the time to help.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Weekday mornings beginning at 7 a.m. Only on 97.7 ESPN and the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app.
You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Oh, Hotel California. Crimson Tide arrived last night.
Thank goodness that
in Los Angeles.
No telling what they're having to pay for those hotels. I heard the tickets are very reasonable, though.
You know what? I haven't even checked.
It's like, and it's not outrageous. Like sometimes you see these games where it's $1,000 or something like that. The most expensive one that I saw on social media was actually the Sugar Bowl with Georgia and Ole Miss, and it's like $200+ $250. Everybody else is pretty much the price of the ticket. Look, to me, that's what it looked like.
Well, let's take a look.
It's very affordable.
Let's take a look and see.
Now it's expensive to fly out there and probably stay in the hotels where they're probably charging you $550 a night. But hey, it is what it is.
You can get a ticket for the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
For about 117 to 134. That'll get you in.
Lower than that.
That'll get you in on StubHub. That's 128.
Yeah.
It's upwards of there's a couple in here for 1,400, but that's going to put you in a suite. But you can get in 134, 130, 126. And here's the thing. It's just a gigantic bowl.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's a bad seat in the place itself.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, the grass is amazing, though, at the Rose Bowl. When you walk on it, it's like just makes you want to take a sleeping bag and just lay down and take a nap.
I've heard.
Before they left, Ryan Grubb had a chance to visit with the media, and he was asked about the Alabama running game. What do the Tide got to do? Here's Ryan Grubb.
Got to get started earlier. We got to stop doing this first quarter shenanigans, waiting to get the run game going until the second and third quarter. We're capable of doing it earlier in the game. We got good enough players. The scheme's there. We just got to execute earlier in the football game. I didn't think, that's been our problem as of late. A couple games where we've gotten off to a slow start. That has not been the case all year, but some critical games where I just didn't feel like we were ready for the physical strain early on. And the guys know that. They're up for the challenge. And I think we'll see a different football team in the first quarter at the Rose Bowl.
Certainly hope so. They need to get off to a faster start. I was asked about that earlier this week. And I don't think as good as this team is defensively at Indiana. At least they're the way when you look at their numbers. Now, certainly Oklahoma's was really good too, but Alabama can't afford to get behind 17-0. And what I mean by that is because it was documented that Oklahoma wasn't great offensively and couldn't run the ball. Well, this dadgum Indiana team can run it.
Right.
Based on who they've played. If you look at their numbers, I think they average like 250 yards passing, like 220 rushing. They're as balanced as you get. And I watched them against Oregon control both lines of scrimmage, and I watched them against Ohio State. Now, they didn't run the ball great against Ohio State, but they certainly controlled the line of scrimmage and got after saying, sacked them 5 or 6 times. They did a pretty good job against the run versus the Buckeyes. So to me, Alabama does need to get off to a faster start and build a lead. I don't think it'll be certainly I'd love it if Alabama jumped on Indiana by multiple and got a 2-score lead. But if they can score first and play out front and gain confidence, I think it'll be huge because this is a really good Indiana team that's really, they were tested in Iowa City, and they certainly were tested in Happy Valley. But Alabama needs to start quickly and create a little game pressure and anxiety for Indiana, because Indiana hadn't had a lot of it. When they've had it, they've responded, but they certainly need to put Indiana in some tough, unfamiliar spots to a degree in this game. And again, this is a huge stage for Indiana, the Rose Bowl, the first one, I guess, since the 40s. When they, because correct me if I'm wrong, I did not check the number, Scott. In 67, did they go to the Rose Bowl? I want to say that I know they won, the Big Ten championship outright,
right?
But in the 40s, but I'm wondering if that was the last trip to the Rose Bowl.
You said 67?
Yeah, I believe they won the Big Ten championship that year. A tie, like a 3-way tie. So
let's go back in the archives, and I can tell you here, 1967, USC and Purdue were there.
They did not play in the Rose Bowl.
68 they would have, because 90, so 68, 67 season, you play in 68.
Yeah.
So, number 1, USC, number 4, Indiana.
Okay.
USC won that one 14-3, 102,940.
So that 3-way tie in 68, which is 67.
Yeah.
They played in the Rose. So that's the last time. So it's been since the late 60s. And then, of course, they played when they won their outright Big Ten championship in the 40s. They played in it. So, but it's been a long time. So since they've been on this stage.
I just had to look. I just scrolling through, and I accidentally stopped on the 1986 score. UCLA 45, Iowa 28.
Oh,
that was the game. Ronnie Harmon admitted afterwards that he took money from agents to throw the game for fumbling. He had like 3 or 4 fumbles in that game. Got paid to do it.
What a legacy to have.
Yeah. Richard out there on the phone lines with us this morning. Good morning, Richard.
Hey, morning, guys. Talking about the prices at the Rose Bowl, I mean, a lot of the seats are bad. I mean, it seats a lot of people, and, in the end zones especially, you don't really have almost no concessions, and, the area around it's beautiful, but the actual stadium is, probably, not nicer than, really, I guess the better seats are nicer, but like I was on an end zone row with 100 seats, and I had seats 50 and 51.
Nice.
So, in other words, you had 49 people one way, 50 the other to go to the restroom.
Oof.
Walk over.
Yeah, I've heard that as far as the accommodations in the restrooms, it is pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's, because, I mean, they don't draw 100,000 for every game.
Right.
When UCLA plays there, you get, 20,000. So I'm sure for a UCLA game when it's half full or third full, it's, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, but when you have it full, but that's why I'm sure the tickets you were looking at $100 and whatever bucks or the end zone, seats and not, because like my mother and sister went and they had seats on about the 15-yard line that were pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Out, in 2009. But like I said, my seats were pretty bad.
Right. Are you going this year?
No. I'm just going to watch on TV. I've been once, and that was enough for me. I'll let other people have fun and spend some tax money in California.
Yeah,
and other people, help Gavin Newsom out instead of me. I got better things to do. So,
yeah.
One thing too, you were talking about the the teams with buys losing, but you also had bad seeding last year.
That's true.
Which they corrected this year, because I mean, it was you were almost asking, those teams to lose, because you had the seeding was backwards last year. I guess it was based on conference champions or whatever versus how good you were. So I mean, you were basically they were just asking for the teams with a bye to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The way they had it set up. So, and they did fix that this year outside of, having James Madison and whoever the other team was in, they got blown out. Yeah, Tulane. They got blown out outside of, not, having that screw up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Out. But I just wanted to call about the Rose Bowl. But like I said, but that's why I'm sure, like you said, I'm sure the better seats are more, but you got a lot of end zone seats because it seats so many people, and those are real good seats out.
Yeah,
and I guess it's supposed to rain too, so
yeah,
the weather's
it looks dicey, but when they were there 2 years ago, it was dicey until right up to the game, and then everything kind of cleared up. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, it looks like there could be some rain, but I don't want to hear it. Just throw the ball, catch the ball, need a sack. Come on, let's go. Catch it, make a play, do something. I've been told that in Scott and I's last show, or in last couple shows anyway, where I went on my rants about Ryan Williams, I made the esteemed BamaOnline.com message board and got eviscerated. And and of course, they totally misunderstood part of what I was saying. I think they thought I was, and I think they thought that it was a different connotation with the sack part, but it was actually, again, catch the football. That's what I meant.
Okay, one thing on the Rose Bowl, and I don't know, but I mean, like Alabama and most of these college teams, in the pros have all this special, equipment may not be the right word,
right,
under the field.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of wonder about the Rose Bowl if they have anything, because it doesn't rain very often. So if it rains, you may have, because like a lot of these teams, suction might not be the right word.
No, they do. Rose Bowl has it all. Yeah, the Rose Bowl has it all. And just so you know, for the Rose Bowl, they actually, and so back when they even had the BCS game, so the BCS game was the second game played there. They'd had the Rose Bowl played, and then they had the BCS game. They actually will resod the field. So they resod the field completely for the Rose Bowl, and it is so well taken care of and so well done, and they've got everything there. Yeah, the Rose Bowl has it all, and it is very well done on the field.
Well, I'm just saying, if they don't have the suction removal of the water, it may not matter if they reside though.
No, they have it all. The Rose Bowl has it all. It's not that outdated.
But like I said, the seating is, so it's like I said, it's nothing. And like you said, you got a few boxes and stuff, but a decent portion of it is not, prime seating at all. So
right. Well, I mean, before you go, Richard, pretty good performance by the Tide without their best player in LeBaron Philon last night.
Yeah, they looked pretty good last night. The last 4 or 5 minutes, they missed a lot of open shots. They could have kind of, blown them out, and and Yale, never quit at all. They kept kind of running their plays and their system, and out, in Alabama, like Philon and Hannah and what's the other fella? They had 3 guys out even.
Oh yeah, London Jemison. Yeah,
and Jemison out. So you had 3 guys out, but you got the Wildcats coming in on unfortunately Saturday morning. So
yeah, it's going to be an early one. I still hope to be there. I have had to miss the last few due to Huntsville High basketball.
What did Huntsville do yesterday?
Oh, they were very impressive in the fourth quarter. Great job. Kudos to Scott and Steve and bringing everybody that actually got a chance to listen to some of the clips. And it was a great atmosphere over there. It was a smart move by the Huntsville City Schools and everyone to push the game back an hour. And it was nearly a sellout, really good crowd, and or it felt like one. And Huntsville wins the game 57-46, and really played their best basketball in the fourth quarter. And Evan Toms had a 4-game run that was probably the most dominant we've seen from a big since the great late Marvin Stone, and led the way, got MVP, and beat a really good Oxford team. And shout out to Oxford, their outstanding program, Joel Van Meter Class Act. They were without one of their starters, but Huntsville's, had guys missing during the year too. But just a huge performance by double by Evan Toms, and then Graham Gossett. He's been out with a little bit with some injuries, as I said, but he had a really good tournament, made all tournament. He had 20, and then the unsung hero was Cam Carney. He only scored one big tip follow up, but he had 10 rebounds. He got so many 50-50 balls, and Huntsville was able to beat a really good team and win their second classic in 3 years. And just a kudos to Huntsville High and those kids. They played their guts out. They're playing really good basketball right now. That's back-to-back tournaments they've won. They won the battle for the board over in Orange Beach, but now it's going to be really tough. The area is going to be brutal this year because Sparkman's really good. They finished third in the Classic. They had a unbelievable semifinal against Huntsville. Huntsville won 62-60, and then they'll have an Albertville team that they've got to go to Albertville, the first area game on January 6th. And Albertville's doing a great job this year and got a really good team from what we understand.
All right, Richard, hate to do it to you, but we are tied up against
See you guys later. Happy New Year.
We got to get this break in. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Your Fox 54 weather.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Another cold night across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures dropping into the mid and upper 20s. A mostly sunny sky for your New Year's Eve. We are going to be a little bit warmer. Temperatures climbing consistently into the upper 40s and lower 50s, dropping into the lower 30s as we head into the overnight early Thursday morning. A partly sunny sky Thursday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid 50s.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The Crimson Tide, the Indiana Hoosiers, New Year's Day, the Rose Bowl.
The Tide advances to play top-seeded Indiana.
The road to the national title continues. Live from Pasadena, California, our coverage begins at noon on your home for Alabama football.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Need tough equipment you can count on? Christopher Equipment has you covered. Whether it's air compressors, trenchers, bucket lifts, concrete tools, generators, skid steers, and more. Serving you with locations in Tullahoma, Shelbyville, Manchester, Fayetteville, and Hazel Green. Christopher Equipment. From job site to backyard, rent or buy, Christopher Equipment delivers the tools you need when you need them. Call 931-455-3900 or visit Christopher.equipment today. Christopher Equipment, powering your project.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
From 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Let's party!
Listen to this.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone, 740 here on a Tuesday morning. Got to remember what day it is when you're not doing Monday through Friday shows. You kind of lose track of the day.
Well, we took about a week off after the
We're going
turkey fry.
to take more time off. This will be it until we come back on the 5th.
Yeah.
Next Monday. So we'll be off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of the rest of this week. We'll come back on the 5th, but we wanted to get you ready for the college football playoff quarterfinals. That'll get started tomorrow night, by the way. You got one game tomorrow night and then 3 games on Thursday. 256-576-4977. That's how you can join us. Let's get back out there. Wolverine Dan still holding.
What's up, Dan? I hope you had a Merry Christmas, man.
Well, Merry Christmas, fellas, to both of you. You know, they always say Christmas comes early. Well, mine is Christmas comes late. Let's do several things. First off, my Michigan basketball team, another 40-point win. I don't think anybody can stop this team. I'm excited, and I really want to play all the high-ranked teams. I think we're going to fare well. We're going to do well in the playoffs, and we'll see how it plays out. And then my Detroit Red Wings, first in the Atlantic Division, overtime victory, unbelievable, it was awesome. And then, of course, the cherry on top, Kyle Winningham.
Yeah, it's a good fit, Dan. It really is. It's a good fit.
I'm going to call him Kyle Winningham. Because, fellas, it's about to go down with that program, those deep pockets, and it's always been a hard-nosed team. This guy's even harder than that. You know, I hate to say it, but he kind of reminds me of me. He's got the long, white, curly hair. You know, he don't got no belly. You know, he works out. You know, he's a tough guy. And that's exactly what's going to happen to this team. They're going to get all the bellies are gone, if there's any at all, and he's going to get these guys in shape. I don't know what you guys think, but I think this is going to hold well for us.
I'll just say this. When Penn State fired James Franklin and then Michigan had to let Sharon Moore go, it looked like both head coaching searches were disasters.
And they were.
Because but Penn State somehow lucks into Matt Campbell. I think that's a good hire there.
Yeah, it's the guy. Scott, you remember what I said on the show? I said from the beginning that's who they should have.
Right. And then Michigan, it seemed like they had no direction on who they were going to hire. None. And they somehow luck into Kyle Winningham.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like he was their top guy, I don't
Utah
think.
kind of forced him to the side.
Yes.
They wanted him to retire, and they won double-digit games at Utah this year. I've always said Winningham was one of the most underrated coaches in the country, and Dan, you just made the point that I think is the most valid. Stylistically, he is the kind of coach Michigan needs. He believes in physicality. Now, he'll throw the ball around too. Let's not get it twisted.
Right.
But he believes in physicality, believes in the running game and defense. And I think to me, the only drawback is his age, but hell, they used that against Nick Saban too, and he continued to beat everybody's brains out. So I think it was a good hire for Michigan.
No, I agree. And look, they always say
they still need to get rid of Ward Manuel. They need to clean house, and they need to just start over. But Winningham has a really good pedigree and history, and he can help start. And he's going to bring in an entire new coaching staff, in my opinion.
Yep. And he's not a Michigan guy.
Well, I mean, but he fits the mold.
No, that's the thing, though. He's not.
They need to just reset and start over. And like Dan said, they have the resources to do so. And that they just need to move on from khaki pants and Sharon Moore and the entire cesspool that was
that whole aura that was there.
In other words, move on. Don't be the Crookereens anymore. Get rid of every one of them maggots and then just start over. And I think if they do so, they'll be fine because Winningham knows I need to get Mike Detillier back on because he knows Kyle. He knows his family. He comes from a family of coaches, and I'd like to get Mike's take on it because I think it's a really good fit for Michigan.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, wrap up hour 1, 256-576-4977. You can join us.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You'll love the expanded wine selection at Liquor Express. From special occasion to everyday table wines, they've got what you need. Meet your friends at the largest tap wall in Alabama with 105 rotating selections. Then take home a growler full of your favorite or choose from our 1,000 canned or bottled beers. Need help stocking your bar or planning your party? Liquor Express has a knowledgeable, professional in-house staff that can assist you with anything from your bar to the planning of your special event. Visit liquorexpress.net for tasting specials, giveaways, and classes.
You've been paying on that life insurance policy for years, but maybe you don't really need it anymore, or it's gotten a bit too expensive. Well, before you just let it expire, let Neighbors Insurance Solutions share with you some alternatives that you haven't considered. Don't throw away something that still may have great value for you. If you want to learn more about what Neighbors Insurance Solutions can do for you, call 256-763-7693. A death benefit could be a life benefit. Learn more at 256-763-7693.
Your customers deserve the best, and so do you. You invest in your customers with your heart, soul, and skill. Well, it's time to invest in yourself with the next generation Cat 255 compact track loader from Thompson Tractor. After all, those who give their best deserve the best, and this machine has it all. With features that include a more powerful engine, tri-axle truck loading capabilities, a spacious cab, and a smooth ride for all-day comfort. And with our Workhorse Special promotion, that new 255 CTL is just $73,655. But it's only good through December 31st. Prices increase in January, so lock in your savings now and take advantage of year-end tax benefits to maximize your investment. Don't wait. The best time to buy that new Cat 255 is today. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for details. Thompson Tractor. We're here for you.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama, located online at universitykia.com.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, kind of helping you get ready for the college football playoff quarterfinals. Our University Kia Rose Bowl preview show, but we can also talk a lot of other college football because there is other stuff in the state. And the buzz yesterday, yes, Alabama arrived in L.A., but the buzz was with the Auburn Tigers.
Lord.
And that is...
Who's left?
Yeah, who's left? Now, look, there are a few names on the list that have left in the transfer portal for the Auburn Tigers that you're like, okay, you weren't going to get a lot of playing time, and that's fine, go off. But then there's a few of them on there that you look at and you're like, okay, now it begins to be a problem. Yesterday, that name Cam Coleman goes into the transfer portal, a wide receiver for Auburn. And that's one of those that you're like, okay, now we
that's when the alarm starts
sounding. Yeah.
Because they invested so much money into Cam, and I honestly thought he would stay at Auburn under Golish and this coaching staff. And I think up until yesterday, Scott, honestly, that was what the Alex Golish and the organization that the Tigers have put together under this new staff and regimen thought. But as we've said, in this portal era, things can change quickly, and they'd been negotiating with Cam quite a bit, before the Christmas break and everything. And now all of a sudden he goes into the portal yesterday, and this it was basically the biggest story in college football yesterday. I mean, it was unreal. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens now.
28 players right now for Auburn have entered the portal. 28.
And this is what I was trying to explain to these Alabama fans. Well, we don't need no Kalen DeBoer if he can't beat the Auburn Tigers or if he can't beat Oklahoma. Just let him go to Penn State or Michigan. Yeah, you do that. You know what happens? Your entire roster disappears. Then your recruiting class disappears. And then right now, you don't even know what kind of team you're going to have. Now, Auburn may go out and knock it out of the park in the portal. We don't know that yet. But right now, let's just say there's some anxiety on the Plains.
Well, because Malcolm Simmons, wide receiver portal.
Yeah,
Perry Thompson,
Simmons,
wide receiver portal.
He can't.
Horatio Fields, wide receiver.
But Horatio is a good player.
Cam Coleman, wide receiver.
I mean, the entire offensive line, even though a lot of them sucked, but still, I think it was
DeAndre Carter, Seth Wilford,
Xavier Chaplin,
the
Turnstile.
Yep. Dylan Senda.
Yeah, they and then a couple of them went pro, but like Connor Liu, our the Incredible Hulk that we met in Atlanta. But I mean,
DeAndre Carter.
I'm going to put it in perspective. When you talk about NFL departures or portal departures, the entire offensive and defensive lines are gone for the Auburn Tigers. Put that in perspective. That's what happens when you make a change in this portal era, especially when you don't need a change or if you don't need your coach to leave for another job. You need stability and you need to support that coach. And Kalen DeBoer has done a really nice job replacing Nick Saban, and there was no need for him to go to Penn State or Michigan. You didn't want that, didn't need that, not with what they're building. You don't overreact because, oh God, they lost to Oklahoma, or oh Lord, they didn't look great against Auburn. They won the game, okay? They won it. That's all that matters. Right. And now they're going to play the best team in the country, and we'll see what happens there.
Anyway, so Alex Golish has his work cut out for him.
In that first year, he does. Now, if you
December 2nd, remember that
January 2nd.
My bad. January 2nd.
Yeah.
That's when this thing will open. The portal window opens.
And they still may knock it out of the park, but there's anxiety because again, the people we trust on this show, the Brian Matthewses and the Jason Caldwells and those people that have been covering this program for well over 25 years, they understand. I mean, Brian was honest with us when Harsin left. He said it was the worst roster that he'd ever seen. And now I'm going to be anxious when we talk with him after New Year's, and this portal has opened by then.
Yes.
What kind of shape is the roster in now? But it's one of those things you got to be committed, and they may knock it out of the park. But Jason Caldwell had made no bones that they're going to sign at 35, maybe to 40 guys. I mean, and again, you don't know how that's going to mesh. You don't know how good this team's going to be. So
it's just crazy to think.
It's crazy to think about. So I think I'll just say this going into Alex Golish's first year, even if they get Byron Brown, the quarterback he had at South Florida, I think that the expectations will be tempered because you don't know.
Let me ask you this, because this is a rarity. It's the only time we've ever seen it.
Right.
It's the first time we've seen it. Ole Miss has got Pete Golding as the head coach.
Right.
Lane Kiffin left. We know that whole saga. Ole Miss has been entwined in this playoff matchup, their playoff football. Do you think after Ole Miss bows out of the playoffs, that because it's a new coach, that Ole Miss will have guys depart in the portal because of the coaching change?
I think so. Hell, there's still people that think as soon as they lose, Trinidad Chambers is going to get another year and then say adios and go to LSU.
I'm just thinking.
Or Austin Simmons.
Yes. I'm thinking, because they haven't had time to do this yet. They haven't had time to process it all because they're in the playoffs and lost their coach in the middle of the playoffs.
Yeah, and Lane Kiffin's such a trustworthy person.
Yeah.
Like
you don't think he would try?
Behind the scenes trying to take half the team.
You don't think he would?
The silence is deafening.
You're letting this silence speak for itself?
Of course.
Because we've not seen it. I don't think, we talk about Ole Miss getting ready for Georgia and in the Sugar Bowl and how good it is.
I will say this. I don't know if you saw this on social media, Scott, but I thought it was very revealing. Very. Did you see who spoke to the team before they left for the Sugar Bowl?
I did not.
Archie Manning. Did you ever see that when Peckerhead was the coach?
Oh, no, because they probably had some yoga teacher in there doing it for him.
Scott, there's so many connotations you could go there with that.
I know.
But seriously, the word I always had was that was the reason Arch was not at Ole Miss and didn't consider Ole Miss more heavily, and that you never saw the Mannings around Lane Kiffin. They did not like Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, because, you go back to that home playoff game. You bring that up.
Right.
And Eli Manning was on the sidelines for the home playoff game with Tulane. He was there.
Did you ever see him when Peckerhead was the coach?
And the first thing he did when Pete Golding walked out onto the field was greet Pete Golding. Did
right
Eli Manning.
Cameras.
Right in front of the camera.
Was he there when they beat Georgia?
I don't think so. But I'm just saying, bring that up. You bring that up, and I did see that Eli Manning was there for the Tulane game and went out of his way to greet Pete Golding.
Symbolic. That is symbolic. Because I always heard that they didn't care for burnt popcorn.
Interesting. Now Mike Detillier has to deal with him.
Oh, Lord. Well, Moscona, Detillier, we love them all. They do a great job. And maybe Lane will knock it out of the park. I think he'll choke.
Did you see he did show up to the Texas Bowl, though? Lane Kiffin did show up to the Texas Bowl. He made an appearance.
Did he have another rented dog?
He showed up to the Texas Bowl,
a cat this time?
Walked out onto the field for a little bit, went up early in the first quarter, I believe it was, did an interview with ESPN.
Of course he did.
And then as soon as the interview was done, he left.
Yeah.
He didn't stick around for any more of the game. I guess he didn't need to. I don't know, but a lot of people were giving him a hard time.
I'm sure they were.
Because he didn't stick around for much of the game.
Yeah. There's no telling where he went either.
Well, it's okay. So it's 8:00 here. It's almost 8:00.
Yeah. What bowl game did they play in again? I know they lost 38-35 to Houston.
It was the Texas Bowl, I think it was.
Oh, okay. Was there any strip clubs around there?
Yes, a lot of them. It's 8:00. Yeah. You know what time it is in Los Angeles, City of Angels? 6:00.
And Tom Brew's being very kind to us.
He's going to literally wake up with us on the West Coast.
He's up early.
Tom Brew's in Los Angeles.
This is huge. This is a huge game.
Yep. He's going to preview it from an Indiana perspective coming up next.
So we talked about 1945, 1967, and now today. Or Thursday.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. All right. We've paid the phone bill. We're going to use it next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSIN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
The Atlanta Falcons beating the LA Rams 27-24 on Monday night, improving to 7-9. They'll close out the regular season on Sunday at home against the New Orleans Saints. Kirk Cousins with a touchdown pass to Bijan Robinson, and Robinson ran for 195 yards and had a rushing score as well. Falcons defense also intercepted Matt Stafford 3 times, returning one for a touchdown. Sunday, the Falcons are a 3-point favorite against New Orleans, minus 162 on the money line. The Saints plus 136, and the over-under 43.5. For VSIN.com, I'm Tony Desiri, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
We put it on our... All right, hour 2 is upon us. SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, dedicated to providing care that improves lives, helping us get hour number 2 underway. A lot of stuff still to get through. And we mentioned that we are just, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're just over 48 hours away from Alabama and Indiana meeting each other in the college football playoff quarterfinals in the Rose Bowl, presented by Prudential, by the way. It's the only bowl game that is presented by. Everything else is the whatever bowl. But we digress. And a lot of ties between these two programs because of the coaches and their stops and where they're at in the history. And oh boy, of course, this is the Rose Bowl where Alabama last played with Nick Saban as head coach, and they lost to a Big Ten team in the Rose Bowl in Michigan, and that started everything. And here we are.
No, and our next guest, he's joined us throughout this journey, and he sent me a message earlier before the season, and we've kept in contact, and he said, hey, do you want me to come on and talk about Kalen DeBoer and the close ties between Indiana and Alabama? And now, ironically, they're playing in the Rose Bowl in the biggest game in Indiana football history. So what better time to talk about that than now? It all worked out as far as fate goes, but there's a ton of ties between these two coaching staffs, and of course Curt Cignetti and his time at Alabama as well. It's a fascinating matchup. It's a great time in college football, especially in Bloomington, Indiana. And of course, our next guest is the national editor-in-chief of Roundtable Sports. He's in California for the Rose Bowl and to document this journey for Curt Cignetti's program as they try to win their first national championship. And we're going to talk to him right now live from Pasadena. Tom, we appreciate the time so much. I know it's very early there, but welcome back to Huntsville, Alabama and Talkin' Ball. And I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and we're going to wish you a Happy New Year. It's going to be a great New Year's Day for the Hoosiers and all their fans.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas and all that to all you all as well. And, yeah, I had a great time. I was able to be back down in my home in Florida for about 2 weeks with this little bit of a gap. So we got a lot of quality family time. And then I was up 5 a.m. Flight yesterday from Tampa to Denver and then here to L.A. and hard at work yesterday. And, of course, I love big events like this just to, not only because of the games themselves, but just to have everybody around and be able to have great conversations all day long, too. And then, of course, we've got a full day of media availability today with both teams. So, I obviously write a lot about Indiana, but, as the national editor-in-chief of Roundtable Sports, I'll be writing lots of Alabama stories this week, too. So very excited about it. Both teams got into town last night safe and sound. Nice welcomes at each of their respective hotels, and we're ready to go at it today, and then can't wait for Thursday afternoon's game, although I'm kind of praying for better weather.
Yeah, I think we all are, Tom. What is it? What is the vibe out there? What is the weather supposed to be? What are they forecasting in California?
Well, it was beautiful yesterday. It was sunny, high 60s. It's supposed to be like that again today. Chance of some rain starting to roll in on Wednesday, but off and on. But Thursday, it's supposed to rain off and on all day long. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Somebody was joking last night, that we've been taught for years that it never rains at the Rose Bowl. Well, it's going to rain at the Rose Bowl this year. And it's just, the question is just going to be how much. And, the forecast is not promising for Thursday at all. But which is unfortunate because it's certainly like my first Rose Bowl. I'm really looking forward to a beautiful sunny day out there and looking forward to those beautiful sunsets over the mountains and all of that. And priority one when I was packing yesterday was to make sure I had my rain slicker with me.
What's been the biggest topic of conversation surrounding this Indiana football team before, or I should say, heading out to Pasadena?
Yeah, well, it was great. We had, the joys of everybody doing the Rose Bowl and really all four of these quarterfinals, right, from a media standpoint, is we had a ton of availability over the weekend. We were able to talk to both offensive and defensive coordinators and 4 players each day, more than an hour of interviews each on Saturday and Sunday both. And, for Indiana, there's been a lot of discussion both among them and just from the outside looking in on how they are handling this 25 days off between games, where I think that's been sort of a big storyline is how is the process going to work, to get through all that. And Kurt Signetti, as very, very much a Nick Saban disciple and very much about the process and the program and how we do things and what our goals are, every minute of every day. And they had a good plan. They got some rest, certainly never a bad thing for your best player to win every National Player of the Year award every day for a week. And they got through all that. And then once they knew an opponent, they've been zeroed in on Alabama, since last Friday, a week ago Friday. And there's a lot of focus on that. So they've been right back at it. They've been well prepared and doing a lot. And Indiana's not a team that goes in full pads and beats the heck out of each other in practice anyway. So a lot of it's been in shells and a lot of it's just been a lot of film work carried out to the field and all that. But the big thing I think out of all of that is they've had 25 days to get healthy. And basically their injury report that came out Monday, there was literally no one on it that we didn't already know was out for the year. So the big news there obviously is the wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr., who got hurt in the Big Ten championship game, is 100% healthy, ready to go. He had an ankle type injury that he's fine. And we got to see 15 minutes of practice over the weekend where he was out running around, without any effort being eliminated at all. So to me, that's the most exciting matchup of the game is Indiana's 4 receivers that are all very good against that Alabama secondary. And so at least from a health standpoint, I think Indiana's as healthy as they can be, and certainly the 25 days off has helped there.
And how big a loss is it? Because we hate to see that for Stephen Daly, because I know because Indiana can get after it. I mean, they sacked Julian Sand 5-6 times, and he was tied for third on the team in sacks. I mean, They definitely have guys that can rush, but how big a loss is he? And in your mind, who picks up the slack for him?
Yeah, it's there's no question it's a loss. I mean, they lost defensive end Kellen Wyatt. Might have very well been their best defensive player all year, early. He got hurt, and when he did, Stephen Daly stepped into that starting lineup, and they didn't miss a beat. And
Right.
Stephen Daly was that great. And then now, that's unfortunate. He was just jumping up to high five a fan, after winning the Big Ten championship game, and landed funny and hurt his knee, and he's out. Now, the joys of that, Indiana has been incredibly secretive. Like every time we've asked Kurt Signetti or Brian Haynes, the defensive coordinator, or even defensive players about, well, who steps in? It's like their answer is totally evasive. Like they haven't talked about it at all. So they have depth at that defensive line position, much like a lot of good teams. They've kind of rotated 7 and 8 defensive linemen all year long. They have that. But what they also have is, in my opinion, the best linebacking core in the country. And they have guys like Aiden Fisher, and they have Isaiah Jones, and they have the Hardy kid, who are all just tremendous linebackers. And there are a lot of times, even in outright passing situations, where Indiana stays with their 3 linebackers on the field, which most teams don't do. They'll run in their nickel packages right away or their dime packages right away, and they're usually taking linebackers out of the game to do that. Well, Indiana doesn't do that. And so what I think we'll see is there may very well be just a lot of times where Hardy or Jones will line up outside and really just be pass rushers. Like they'll certainly fake it out and scheme it out. All of that chess game will come into play. But I think we'll see those 3 guys on the field all the time. We'll see the outside guys maybe rushing a little bit more than they would, or blitzing a little bit more than they would, and they're all very capable of that. And so I think we'll see a lot of mixing and matching. I think that where Indiana benefits a little bit is, and I think you guys know this from watching Alabama so long all year, they just don't run the ball very well. So when Indiana gets them in very, very obvious passing situations, they're going to do a lot of blitzing. They're going to do a lot of scheming to change things around. And the personnel on the field, I think, will vary a lot depending on down and distance and time and score.
Mm-hmm. And then offensively, how does Indiana then, you mentioned, how does Indiana then attack this Alabama defense?
Well, I think that, Indiana has a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback.
Yes.
Okay. So there are a lot of people who haven't watched Indiana all year long who forget the fact that they average 221 yards a game rushing.
That's what I was talking about earlier, Tom. They got 2 really good backs, man.
Yeah, they do. And same thing there. Lee Beebe Jr. was their starting tailback when the season started, and he got hurt in first game. And these guys, they can run the ball, and they're even really, they've got 3 running backs. They've got their third string back that's closed out a whole bunch of games for them too, and is a really good short yardage threat. They got plenty of depth there, and Indiana's offensive line work in the run game has been really good all year, even against good teams. They've been able to find a way. So I think Indiana can run the ball against Alabama. I really think they can, and that will be the key, especially if there are weather issues. I have much more faith in Indiana being able to run the ball effectively against Alabama than I do in reverse. I just don't see how Alabama, and I've watched all the tape of Florida State. I've watched all the tape of the loss at Oklahoma. I've watched all the tape of the SEC championship game where they ran for 24 yards on 10 carries. I even watched, as hard as it was, I even watched all 60 minutes of the Iron Bowl. It's like Alabama's just not good at running the football. And Indiana is. And they've got backs. Not only are they strong, they don't ever lose yards. You don't see a whole lot of TFLs in Indiana's running game, and they've only fumbled the ball once all year. One time. So they just, don't give it away. And even a lot of the Alabama players over the weekend were talking a lot about it, that, they've watched all this stuff on film to know that, Alabama might be able to beat Indiana on Thursday, but Indiana is not going to beat Indiana on Thursday. They play smart football. They're very efficient. They very much are gritty and disciplined. And, I don't think they're going to turn the ball over. a lot, and give Alabama short fields. So that'll be the key. I think if they can run and keep moving the chains and give Mendoza a chance to throw, especially with all those wide receivers healthy now, I think Indiana can move the ball against them. But obviously, Alabama's defense is good. They're definitely good, no question about it. And they've gotten some pieces back now too, but I don't think they're great. Like I think we've seen teams move the ball against them fairly well, in a lot of stretches. And I know they've, I don't want to dismiss Alabama's good wins this year, but like one of the stories I wrote a week or so ago was I wanted to focus on those 3 losses to kind of get the blueprint for how to beat them. And man, it was blatantly obvious what it was. Just win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball in all 3 of those losses, and and then make big plays when you needed to. And Florida State, Oklahoma, and Georgia, of course, did that against them. And I can see Indiana doing the same thing.
Well, and I think Alabama, one thing they've got to do that was the key to beating Oklahoma is they actually won the kicking game. They were really bad in the first game on November 15th in the kicking game against OU. They're going to have to find a way to win the kicking game against Indiana to give themselves a chance. And I will say, I think they got to win that turnover battle. They only forced 1 against OU, but it was a touchdown. If they could force 1 or 2 against Indiana, that would be like forcing 3 or 4 against somebody else.
I agree completely. It's you've got to have those equalizers, kind of make up the difference, between these 2 teams, and certainly turnovers play a big part of that. But the one thing to keep in mind about that, though, is in the Big Ten championship game, Indiana had 1 turnover. Fernando Mendoza had a pass that was intercepted, and I still argue it should have been pass interference. Was the first defender took the receiver out and the ball got tipped up. And Ohio State had a short field and went 30-something yards and scored a touchdown. It was their only touchdown of the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, they scored that. Then they go ahead. They were up 10-7 at the time, or 10-3 at the time, and they never scored again. So it's like Indiana's made. Whenever Indiana has made a mistake this year, Fernando Mendoza has bounced right back. And he threw a fourth-quarter interception at Iowa that tied the game and proceeded and went right down the field with a scoring touchdown to win. He threw a pick 6 at Oregon and turned right around and had 3 scoring drives back to back to back to close out that game after that interception. When he makes mistakes, in other words, they don't get frazzled by it. Mendoza, as a quarterback, doesn't get frazzled by it. And even more importantly, Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator, and Kurt Cignetti, of course, they don't panic either. They stay in attack mode offensively, and so if they make a mistake, it's not going to devastate them, obviously, unless it's very late in the game. But when they make a mistake, they turn right around and stay just as aggressive and go after it. And I think we'll see more of that on Thursday, where if a mistake happens early, they won't let it affect them in any way. But also, like you said, it's that second mistake, it's that second turnover. What happens there is if Alabama can force 2 interceptions, how much does that change the game? I would say it would change it a lot. Special teams, as you guys know, in bowl games is always huge. I mean, there's, and especially with all the athletes that Alabama has on that roster. I mean, if they can return a punt for a touchdown, or they blocked the kick against Oklahoma, if they can do stuff like that, those to me are very much turnovers. When that stuff happens. So I think all of that comes into play where Alabama needs to have a break or 2 like that happen to give them short fields and give them an opportunity to score points without having to try to march 80, 85 yards against Indiana all night long.
Well, and we're talking to Tom Brew, the national editor-in-chief of Roundtable Sports, and I got to say this too. A couple more things. I said this on another show yesterday, Tom. They asked me if Alabama is going to win this game or give themselves a chance in the fourth quarter, because I think that it's going to be a tight game. I think that's what's going to have to happen. They have to give themselves an opportunity to create it. I think they asked me which position group has to play their best game of the year, and I think it's got to be Alabama's offensive line against that front 7 that I was so impressed with in the Big Ten championship game.
I would agree with you 100%. I mean, and in 2 ways. I mean, I think I think that offensive line, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong because you've watched every game, but I think they're a much better pass blocking group than they are a run blocking group.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
And so I think for that offensive line to play well, like they're big. They've got a lot of size in the team, but I don't know how athletic they are as an offensive line. And how I don't ever question how creative Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer can be in regards to trying to scheme up some things, but that offensive line needs to find a way for Alabama to run for at least 100 yards this game, or they don't have a chance. So I think that's the key part of it. If they can make some of that happen now, and you guys know too, where that really comes into play is if you can break a play, break it for a score. Like a bunch of 7, 8, 10-yard runs are all good. They'll be thrilled to have them, but can there be that running play where they gas somebody and open a hole? And the guy in the second level or third level makes a mistake and somebody takes it to the house for a 50 or 60-yard score. If something like that can happen, that'll make a big difference. I think they will do a pretty good job of pressuring protecting Ty Simpson pretty well. They've done that well most of the year. But like I said, those linebackers, they wreak havoc for Indiana because all three of them can come at any time on a blitz, but they're also very good in coverage. Indiana has one of the best corners in the game in D'Angelo Pons. Indiana safeties are very, very underrated. They don't make mistakes, and they're in the right spot, and they're good coverage people. They fly the ball, and everybody in Indiana secondary, they're all really good tacklers too, which makes a big difference. And I think with Alabama's wide receivers, they'll do a good job of keeping them in front of them, but they'll also be good about getting them to the ground quickly when they catch the ball.
Alabama fans were very nervous in that Oklahoma matchup because on the special teams wise, Alabama's field goal kicking has been erratic, but it's been better the last few games. Punting has been okay. How does Indiana's special teams and how's it been holding? Obviously, it looked good in the Big Ten championship game, but how's it been faring so far?
Yeah, well, their special teams have been excellent all year, and a lot of that was, and doesn't surprise you, of course, with Signetti, having worked for Nick for so long, that there's a lot of emphasis that gets put on special teams here in Indiana. Well, they lost that game to Ohio State in the regular season last year, totally because of special teams. It was basically, a tie game late in the second quarter, when Indiana botched the snap on a punt and Ohio State got a quick score out of it. And then, first possession of the second half, Caleb Downs returned a punt for a touchdown. And just those two plays completely changed the course of that game. And they have been focused on special teams all year long. They've got great return people. They've blocked it up well. Their kickoff and punt coverage teams, they use their starting defensive people on those teams. I mean, all those great linebackers I talk about, they'll cover punts and they'll cover kickoffs and they'll be out there. And the Indiana special teams have been very good all year. And knock on wood, there's not been a game where it cost them anything at all. They've been really solid in that area. And I think I'll be surprised if something goes wrong on Thursday in special teams.
And finally, Tom, my last question. I know this will probably be part of your angle as you're covering. As you said, it's a huge media day today out there at the Rose Bowl. But so many connections between these staffs. Kalen DeBoer, Kane Womack, and of course even the strength coach David Ballou had a great run under Tom Allen in Indiana. There's a lot of I would think fond memories from the Indiana fan base with this matchup between these two coaches.
Very much so. Kalen DeBoer was the offensive coordinator there just for 1 year in 2019. And they did a lot of great things that year with Michael Penix Jr. and then Peyton Ramsey, who did a very, very nice job at quarterback when Penix would get hurt. But it was just 1 year. It was sort of a quick thing. And then Nick Sheridan, of course, you didn't mention him. Who's
that's
part
right.
of Alabama staff.
Yeah, that's right.
For a few more days. He was the quarterback's coach in Indiana. And when Kalen came, he went and did receivers and tight end, and then went with Kalen out to Washington and had all that success out there. And he's done a lot of good things at Alabama too. He's leaving for the Michigan State job, but he's part of that as well. And then Kane Womack was very well liked and very well received too. Very much considered a Tom Allen disciple. He was his linebackers coach for a year and then defensive coordinator for a year before he went down to South Alabama, and a lot of respect for them too. But also, obviously this Indiana love affair with Kurt Signetti and his staff has
no doubt
just really literally trumped everything. And then they've also they've been able to keep everybody. They only lost one coach last year. They're not losing any coaches this year.
Wow.
They've all been re-signed to big deals. Indiana has a top 5 budget now for assistant coaches. Brian Haynes is a great defensive coordinator, making $3 million now.
Wow.
I would have never thought I would ever see that at Indiana, where a coordinator would make that kind of money. But they made the commitment to keep those guys there, and everybody, from top to bottom, it's all signed, sealed, and delivered on new deals, and we'll be back in 2026. And so everybody, Indiana loves their old guys, and they have a great appreciation for Kalen and Kane. But certainly they are totally on the Signetti bandwagon now, and very excited about what plays out on Thursday.
No, we were very excited, and we'll be following your coverage. Tom, let everybody know how to follow you, and we certainly appreciate you getting up early and then helping us out, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's easiest way is on Twitter, Tom Brew Sports. Brew like a beer, brew like a coffee. Tom Brew Sports on Twitter. That's the easiest way, because I share every one of my stories there. And this week I have sort of that as the national editor-in-chief at Roundtable. I'm writing a lot of stories for our main national page, and then also writing stories for our main college page. And obviously I've got to still run our Indiana page too. So the stories kind of fall everywhere. But roundtablesports.com is just the easiest way to get to that site. And what's nice about it too is you can join our community there. Like on our Alabama site that Hannah Stevens does a good job running, you can go on that site and just click join, and we've got a community section right there where you can like and comment and make your own comments and share your own stuff right there as well. And in fact, you guys even too, every time you got a link to a radio interview, if you ever want to show it, throw it in there, feel free. It's all about, everybody seeing everything there. So yes, I'm wearing many hats this week, and I'll be writing as many Alabama stories as I am Indiana, and looking forward to spending a lot of time with all the Tide people today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome. Have a great day, guys.
All right, we got to get a break in, but for those that didn't know, Kalen DeBoer is already 1-0 in games in the Rose Bowl. We'll explain when and where when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Need tough equipment you can count on? Christopher Equipment has you covered. Whether it's air compressors, trenchers, bucket lifts, concrete tools, generators, skid steers, and more. Serving you with locations in Tullahoma, Shelbyville, Manchester, Fayetteville, and Hazel Green. Christopher Equipment. From job site to backyard, rent or buy, Christopher Equipment delivers the tools you need when you need them. Call 931-455-3900 or visit Christopher.equipment today. Christopher Equipment, powering your project.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
What does it mean to be a part of the Southeastern Conference? That you scheduled your wedding and even your child's birth around your school's game? Of course. But it means more than that. It means you're home to hundreds of Fulbright, Truman, Goldwater, and Rhodes Scholars. It means starting out as the birthplace of American public higher education, and now leading the way in unmanned spacecraft. This is the SEC. And here, it just means more. What does it mean to be a part of the Southeastern Conference? That there's an honest-to-goodness chandelier in your tailgate tent? Perhaps. But it means more than that. It means pioneering medical solutions to predict new flu viruses. It means leading globally diverse teams to eliminate starvation in developing countries. And it means being home to one of the nation's top cybersecurity programs. This is the SEC. And here, It just means more.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right. For those that want to know, Kalen DeBoer as a head coach,
Yeah.
has a win in the Rose Bowl. You know who it was with?
Who?
When he was at Fresno State in 2021. He was the head coach of Fresno State. They go in.
And they beat the Bruins.
And they beat 13th ranked UCLA in the Rose Bowl.
You mean they were actually ranked back?
They were actually ranked in 2021. UCLA was ranked 13th. Fresno State goes in there, led by Kalen DeBoer, and knocks off the Bruins.
Well, nobody would have thought they'd have done that. Nobody thinks that, except for myself and a few others, that Alabama's going to beat Indiana. So we'll see.
Do you feel how much different do you feel about this one than you felt about Oklahoma?
I felt, I actually, I feel more confident in this one after seeing Alabama and the way they responded against the Sooners.
Right.
I certainly, I thought Alabama had a good shot in the rematch against Oklahoma. I really did. And I picked Alabama, but with the way especially with the way they responded to adversity, because again, I don't think they can duplicate that.
Right.
I think they need to have hopefully found a formula and catch fire. And certainly I think Fernando Mendoza is a hell of a player, but I'm hoping, this will be a Gino Toretta kind of moment where Gino was the Heisman Trophy winner. Big bad Miami was going to smoke Alabama. Nobody gave Alabama a chance, and they beat the ever-loving snot out of Miami. Now, do I think they're going to do that to Indiana? I do not. This Alabama team is good defensively. That Alabama team had the greatest defense I've ever seen.
Right.
Okay. Now, let's not misunderstand it, though. Alabama didn't have a great offense that year, but what Alabama could do, they could run the football, and they ran the football down Miami's throat with Derek Classic and Sherman Williams and Chris Anderson, those band of backs. But, this Alabama team's not great at running the football, but like Tom Bruce said, and I agree with him, if Alabama could rush for 100 yards, I do think they can create some opportunities to throw the ball. And so we'll see. But, I do think they can put game pressure on Indiana. I do think that they're better. That Alabama's a lot better football team than Penn State, who pushed Indiana to the brink. And so I think Alabama can play the Hoosiers tough and give themselves a chance. But, if they give themselves a chance in the fourth quarter, can they make the plays to win it? They certainly did against Oklahoma. And I think now they're healthier. I saw Kevin Riley on the practice field. Riley could give them another, set of hands out of the backfield, can also give them some shiftiness and some speed in the backfield. And so we'll see. I just think Alabama matches up well. I think, Tom was kind of breaking down Alabama's schedule and focusing on the losses, but I think Alabama is more battle tested than Indiana. I don't care. I think most of what Indiana played was tomato cans. I think most of them sucked.
Yeah. We outlined the three biggest ones.
They absolutely eviscerated Illinois on the road and scored 63. Well, guess what? The SEC eviscerated Burt a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. He couldn't cut it in the SEC, so he had to go back to the Little 10 and build a program there where he can actually win games consistently. He couldn't do it in the SEC.
All right, let's get a break in. Ryan Fowler's on the other side. We'll get his thoughts about the Rose Bowl and take the temperature of what it is in Tuscaloosa. Ryan Fowler next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Travel accommodations for 97.7 ESPN The Zone provided by University Kia. Your Fox 54 weather.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon, but it is definitely going to be chilly. We're totally done with the 70s. Temperatures only climbing into the upper 30s, lower 40s, dropping into the mid and upper 20s as we head into the overnight early Wednesday morning. A mostly sunny sky for your New Year's Eve. We are going to be a little bit warmer. Temperatures climbing into the upper 40s, lower 50s.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The crimson and white jerseys.
Front court to the rack and the play.
The sound of a buzzer beater.
Got it to go as the buzzer sounds.
The Roll Tide chant from the crowd. It can only be Alabama basketball. Join the Alabama Crimson Tide right here on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Your customers deserve the best, and so do you. You invest in your customers with your heart, soul, and skill. Well, it's time to invest in yourself with the next generation Cat 255 compact track loader from Thompson Tractor. After all, those who give their best deserve the best, and this machine has it all. With features that include a more powerful engine, tri-axle truck loading capabilities, a spacious cab, and a smooth ride for all-day comfort. And with our Workhorse Special promotion, that new 255 CTL is just $73,655. But it's only good through December 31st. Prices increase in January, so lock in your savings now and take advantage of year-end tax benefits to maximize your investment. Don't wait. The best time to buy that new Cat 255 is today. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for details. Thompson Tractor. We're here for you.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement, it's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
Talking ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Weekday mornings beginning at 7 a.m. only on 97.7 ESPN and the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome in, 8:37 on a Tuesday morning. We've done a good job of getting you ready for the college football playoff quarterfinals, the Rose Bowl, and we've touched on the orange, the sugar, and the cotton as well. And your favorite person is previewing the Rose Bowl right now,
Heather Dimwit.
And Paul Feinbaum, which, by the way, you can hear weekdays here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. But Ryan Fowler, he's probably got a little bit of thought or two on this one.
Yeah, he does. And, of course, he has the longest-running radio show with a tremendous caller fan base over there for the game.
For those that don't know, it pretty much dwarfs what we have here.
Well, I mean, it's look, these people call an hour before, and as he told me the other day, when last week, he said the show is off the rails. So I had to put my appearance off because I was tentatively scheduled, and they were blowing the phones up because of the win over Oklahoma. And now they get this opportunity in the Rose Bowl to play the number 1 Indiana Hoosiers. Ryan, we hope you had a Merry Christmas. Welcome back to your native North Alabama. You're in the Rocket City with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Well, I'm sorry. I was helping this guy at the transfer portal down at Auburn. He's overloaded with work, and me being the nice guy that I am, I'm helping him type some names in the portal. So I apologize. What were you guys asking? I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, AC let on. We took him off band temporarily this morning. He called in, but
it was a decent phone call this morning.
He didn't rip into it.
He didn't give Drew his Twitter back though.
No, he didn't. But he didn't even mention the fact that he was voted moron of the year because he realizes we didn't vote him that, so it wasn't Scott and I.
Well, now hold on. I congratulated him yesterday on the air. Literally live on the air. I said, "Listen, we're going to talk about our station up north, 97.7, and I want to congratulate you." He had no clue. I mean, it was like me. Like, I felt like the guy that was knocking on the door of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. When the guy knocks on the door and says, "Welcome to the Hall." That's what I felt like when I was talking with AC. Just trying to convince him, what a prestigious honor this is and the recognition.
He's playing dumb. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't not anybody can go out there and just win more out of the year. But I mean, I have a question. Like, who was his biggest competition? That's one.
Sharon Moore.
Yeah,
it was him. It was either him or Sharon Moore. That's who had gotten the votes.
Yeah.
Was Tim Brando one of the
Yep.
finalists?
He was up there. Bramblow, he was up there.
Heather Dinich was on there. The College Football Playoff Committee had gotten some.
Yeah. Mine was Ward Manuel.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. I mean, AC beat out Tim Brando. Maybe this is bigger than
the caller. Okay. I mean, they voted.
The callers kept calling in and saying AC.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to tell you, he is he's quite the polarizing guy. He calls up. There's no telling what he's going to talk about. I mean, you have absolutely no clue. Zero. I mean, it's me. And he did pick Oklahoma, so that the audience here has been serving him a little bit of crow.
Yes, I do remember that.
Oklahoma to beat Alabama, so he's been having to eat a little bit of that. But he's a trip, man. Wow. Well, congratulations to AC. It's Alabama making the college football playoffs and him winning the moron of the year. My life is complete in 2025.
Well, what are your thoughts on this matchup with Indiana? I've said this to this point forward, the season's gravy, but Kalen DeBoer with a chance to make a huge statement, and Scott pointed out he's already won a game in the Rose Bowl.
I think Alabama gets the job done. I mean, I really do. I just think when you look at it, and yesterday at 7:10 Central Time, we got an injury report. Best looking injury report that we have had since. Even going prior back to the first game. The first game, you had Jan Miller and Tim Keenan that were out. I mean, injuries have been a big problem for this football team. I guess I'd have to go back to the Georgia week, the last time they were this healthy, because you got Tim Keenan back, you got Jan Miller back for that game. When you look and begin to study, this is the healthiest they've been probably since fall camp started.
So let me ask you this, Ryan. You think and you feel Alabama can get it done in the Rose Bowl? And I asked Drew this earlier too. Is that because of the performance against Oklahoma in that first round game? Or if this had been the game after the SEC championship, would you feel the same way?
No, I simply think when I look at it, I think Alabama has re-energized themselves. I saw a little something different in that second half that made me understand that this bunch is going to be hard to get, to be killed.
Yeah.
I don't know how you kill them. And I think the mental toughness is something that we don't value enough in the college football playoffs, because it takes that. Georgia has it. I mean, Georgia is mentally tough because of the schedule that they've had to play. I think what this league does is prepares you, because every single week you can be built be beat. It builds that mental toughness that you just, when you look at it, it's hard to fabricate that. And I just don't know if Indiana like it. Like, let's say, I mean, hypothetically, let's say Alabama jumped out and punched Indiana in the mouth a little bit. How does that team respond?
Right.
Have they been against the ropes? Ohio State, I guess you could say, they came back against Penn State on the road. According to, who was that, Gus Johnson? That was his Heisman moment. Eventually, I don't think that was the Heisman moment, but that was the day that he went crazy on the air. But it's, when you look at Mendoza, big-time quarterback, but he's also padded those numbers against a lot of, Auburn losing teams. I was about to say Vanderbilt, but Vanderbilt's no longer the doormat. Really, it's Auburn at this point. There's a lot of Kentuckys. There's a lot of Auburns. There's a lot of Mississippi State. I mean, when you look at that Big Ten, it's top heavy. Brett Norsworthy always says somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. Well, you start looking at Indiana. I mean, you guys were talking about Sharon Moore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys, with that coaching staff, with the conflicts that they had with, head coaches, with having situations like that, interference, whatever word you want to use, they still won 9 football games in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that to me, that explains that conference. It's a very top-heavy conference. I mean, look at the teams that just absolutely stink it up. So you run your stats up, and I think everybody's seen the numbers. What has he done against the elite teams? His statistics drop off quite a bit. And I think that's where you look at it, the part that Kane Womack's defense going up against Mendoza is they're going to be able to play man if they choose to do that. And that gives Kane Womack a lot of blitz packages to put on Mendoza.
It does. And we're talking to Ryan Fowler, Tie 109, as we are previewing the Rose Bowl on Thursday, 3 p.m., the granddaddy of them all, Alabama, the 100th anniversary of that first Rose Bowl national championship in 1926. How ironic is that? It's all the tie-ins. And then, of course, as we talked to Tom Brew this morning, all the tie-ins with Indiana, with Kalen DeBoer, Kane Womack, and David Ballou. So there's a lot. And then Kurt Cignetti with his time at Alabama. It's going to be a very interesting ball game. And Ryan, in your mind, what are the keys for Alabama to win this game? I think they've got to get it to the fourth quarter and put game pressure on Indiana.
I think so. I mean, think about it. I mean, it's exactly what we just talked about. I mean, it's that pressure of being in those dog fights at the end. That's where Alabama, to me, plays its best ball,
mm-hmm.
is when their back is against the wall. I almost wonder if Indiana does that.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at this team. They did against Ohio State. They did against Penn State. Can they do it on the road? And the other part that I want to say that we're leaving out, guys, did you guys notice in the second half of the Oklahoma-Alabama game that Oklahoma had that extra week or whatever it was that they were able to take off?
Right.
Did you guys see that? And maybe it was a couple of weeks, right? I mean, in the season, Alabama plays the SEC title game. They get into the playoffs 12 days later. They're playing Oklahoma. So that extra week that they waited, you could see conditioning had fallen off compared to the teams last year. Wasn't it the 4 buys that got beat?
Yes, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, I mean, but look at Indiana at this point will have been off for over 30 days to play Alabama. Guys, I thought it was a factor, and you could look at it from a fatigue standpoint, but you could also look at a conditioning side of things. When I looked at the second half, I saw Oklahoma, a lot of hands on those hips. It could have been because Alabama was whipping that butt, but a lot of it was conditioning, and you can simulate a lot of things in practice. I just don't know if you can simulate the in-game reps that it takes to play 3.5 hours. Because remember, practice is only 2 hours. That's all you can go. because of the NCAA limits. When you play for 3 hours, I know that you have a break, defense, offense. I get all that. But when you look at the conditioning side of that, I almost wonder how that will impact it. I guess the good thing for Indiana, it's not going to be hot, right? I mean, so you're going to have periods of rain out there. Probably, I don't really know a lot about LA, but I would assume just no humidity. But if the rain's there, you're probably going to have some. Who knows? I mean, all these things can come into factor into the game. And I think it's one of the things that we'll see if they come out sharp in that first quarter and you see Mendoza clicking, it could be a long day.
Well, and what are your thoughts on the return of LT Overton? How big could that be? Because we know he hasn't played in a few weeks.
Sure. I think he could probably give you maybe 25, 30 snaps.
Yeah.
I don't think it's realistic to say that he can come in and play, the role that he did prior to going through his illness. But I think he can give you something. And I guess good news for Alabama is he wasn't even listed on the probable or questionable or doubtful. I mean, he's listed as a go. And we'll see if that changes later today. You could always have a player that could be added. But right now, that injury report looks great. LT Overton. And also, don't forget about Kevin Riley, too.
Yes.
That's a little change of pace guy that you get back to in the backfield for Alabama. And we'll see if they can run the football. But I just think athlete on athlete, I think there's a big gap with what Alabama has and Indiana. You've got to credit Indiana. They went to Oregon. They got the big win. They beat Ohio State. They're a great football team. But I'm talking about comparing athlete to athlete. Alabama's defensive back, Indiana's defensive back. Alabama's wide receiver, Indiana's wide receiver. I think there's a talent gap. I just think it's there. They're a scrappy bunch. They're a guy that they play team football. They tackle. They do it as a team, whether they get into the quarterback or whether they're putting pressure on their rush defense. They are a complete team. I just look at the talent difference. Guys, there's a lot of talent in Tuscaloosa, and a lot of that talent has not been healthy. This is a chance we'll see Alabama to full string. And remember, full string, we were calling Alabama a team that could win the national title back in after the trip to Athens. If this team is healthy and looks like they are, I expect a great game, and I think Alabama's going to beat Indiana.
Wow. Great stuff from Ryan Fowler. Always great intel and insight. Ryan, we appreciate it. We know it's been a busy holiday season for you, and we're glad you had a very Merry Christmas. We want to wish you a Happy New Year. We know it's going to be a very festive rest of the week on the game, and you'll have a great show today. But we always appreciate the time, sir, and have a great show. And, again, enjoy the coverage of the Rose Bowl, and hopefully we'll be having you back on talking about a trip to Atlanta next week.
Hey, we all might be over there. We may just make our trip.
Fire it up.
Happy New Year to you guys. Happy New Year to you guys. Have a great rest of your day. And, let me get back to putting names in the portal, helping this guy. I told him I'd help him this morning for the Auburn Tigers. So busiest guy in the state is the portal administrator down in Lee County. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan. All right, let's get our final break in. We'll wrap all of this up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing. We have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. I know your accident is the real thing. and they happen to real people.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. There's a lot of talk right now about bigger, but when you've had a wreck, is bigger better?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. Do you want to be just a case number?
With offices in Huntsville and Scottsboro, we take the time to help.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
There are only about 4,300 publicly traded companies on the U.S. Stock Exchange, but there are an estimated 33 million companies in the U.S. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. The average investor is missing out on over 99% of the investment opportunity that's happening in this beautiful country until now. True portfolio strength is found beyond the confines of the S&P 500, investing in promising companies before they go public. Private real estate, infrastructure, world-changing technologies. This is called the endowment model. The endowment model has historically outperformed the traditional model of just stocks and bonds. If you're an accredited investor and want more from your investments, it's time to think beyond just stocks and bonds. Call Trajan today, 256-202-4200. That's 256-202-4200.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. See website for details.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines real fast while we wrap all this up. Jake is with us. Good morning, Jake.
Thanks for holding.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all doing, man?
We're doing well, man. What's up?
Hope everything went well over the holidays. Man, I think he just touched on it a little bit when he said conditioning. Man, I had thought that, I thought that, especially in the second half of that Oklahoma game, Alabama, just like he said, hands on the hip. Alabama, I could tell, I could see it in my tears' eyes. Something clicked with this team. Tyler Simpson, his mannerisms just look like he went from like a freshman to a senior all of a sudden. You know, he just confidence, and I don't know what sparked this, y'all. But, man, I feel really good going into this game. And it's not all just, you know, crimson-colored glasses, you know, positivity. I think the defense is its best season. Don't you guys agree? And the guys talked about it a minute ago with health, man. Come on, guys. We're healthy, guys.
Jake, thanks for the phone call as well.
Good points. I think Alabama's defense is I don't know about it being elite, but I think it's very good, better than good. I think they're playing at the highest level, and I think they can match up well with Mendoza and that Indiana offense. And I just think overall the health is a big factor. I think it's a good point.
All right. Alabama over Indiana. We agree on that one?
21-17.
All right. Miami, Ohio State.
I got Ohio State.
Go with you there. Oregon, Texas Tech.
I got Texas Tech 27-24.
Got to go with Oregon. And then Ole Miss, Georgia.
I got Georgia 34, the Pete Golding 20. Goodbye.
I'll go with Georgia with you on that one as well.